I heard a quote, I don't know who said it, but fortune is in the follow-up, and it's true. I'd say about 99% of the time that I'm reaching out, it's never one email. It's either the second email or the third email.
Hello, once again, and welcome to another episode of What's Working in E-Commerce. I am your host, Egan Heath from Asymmetric Marketing. You can check out the work we do for clients at asymmetric.pro. Today, I'm speaking to a PR professional and somebody who's great at building inbound backlinks for SEO, and he does outbound research to get it. So we have Gene Caballero on from GreenPal. Gene, welcome.
Hey, Egan, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no, Gene, I was speaking with your partner, Brian, the other day, and we got going on SEO and we got going on links. And I was like, how are you getting all these links I see in Ahrefs? He basically said, my co-founder, Gene, is just a pro on PR and he reaches out to outlets and he gets featured. And I was like, I got to see what Gene is doing. So I wonder if you could give the backstory on how did you figure out this form of marketing, both for the SEO backlink side, but also just for the public relations, getting featured in press?
Yes. Early on, we knew that our business model wouldn't support us paying, $20, $30 for a customer. So we knew that we had to do something a little bit outside of the box. PR was one of those things that we had talked about and knew that we needed to do. And none of us had a background in pretty much anything other than Brian and landscaping. So I took the PR side of it and first reached out to a bunch of PR agencies to say, hey, what would it cost us to get a campaign with you guys? And typically it was a retainer of anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000 a month. And that was just something that a startup just typically can't afford. And so what I did was I reached out to a PR professional locally in Nashville and said, hey, whatever your time is worth, I will pay you if you can walk me through the process of what a PR professional should be doing to get their name in lights, basically. And I sat down with this individual for about 4 or 5 hours. And she basically just told me who to reach out to, how to reach out to, the format, and the idiosyncrasies with reaching out to the local news media. And been doing it for about 9 years now. Learned a lot and still continue to grow, learn pretty much every year when we start to do it again.
Love it. Yeah. And just for a refresher for people who didn't catch the last episode or need to remember, it's yourgreenpal.com. And it's actually like Uber for lawn care is how Brian had described it. And you guys really need those local links from local businesses, but that's a good idea in general. It's probably easier to get some of those links in some cases than maybe national publications and things like that. And they really add up over time in terms of SEO. When you spoke with that PR professional and interviewed them, first of all, that's a great move of just who knows how to do this and how can they teach me? How can I learn from them, pay them for their time if that's appropriate? Was there something you learned from the PR person that surprised you?
I mean, everything. I'd never done PR in my life. I didn't know what to do. I didn't basically know anything. I was like, I'm going to literally chain this person to this desk until I learn as much as I possibly can. And they taught me a lot about the etiquette, about what to send, how to send it, and who to send it to. The only thing that I figured out on my own is that when you're doing PR in-house and you don't outsource it to a PR company, you can get about as aggressive as you want. You can follow up 2 or 3, 4 times. What we did in 2018, 2019 was just say, hey, I'm going to be in Des Moines, Iowa next week. Let's set up an interview. And that kind of lets them know, hey, this guy's serious. Their company is coming and launching into our city, and it'd be cool to interview this person. So you have a little more flexibility, and that's something that I learned on my own as opposed to everything else from that PR person that I hired.
How cool. Where do you start? Do you start with the pitch and the angle? Do you start with who you're going to reach out to? Do you write the cold outreach email first? What's the first step here?
The first step is basically finding out who you're going to email. Pretty much every city has one main newspaper, and then a CBS, ABC, Fox, and NBC affiliate in that city, in a normal size city. They typically have a meet the team URL, and you click on that URL and you are basically into their contact info. So you can see anything about the reporter. The reporter's been there for 4 years. They typically do stories on political situations or something like that. And you can filter down, who you need to reach out to. It's very time sensitive sometimes, having to reading through all these bios and all these profiles and then making your own list of who you reach out to and making little notes on, hey, this person writes about retail. So, hey, we're not a retail shop, but we're a new business launching in your city. So the research is basically the first thing that I do when launching in a new market.
Love that. Is it time sensitive or it's time intensive where there's quite a bit of upfront research?
It could be both, honestly. Okay. The reason being is from about February till about July, all I'm doing is pitching. The reason being is that your pitch has to be relevant. If you're pitching Spokane, Washington for lawn care in November, you're going to get crickets. Nobody cares about lawn care in Spokane, Washington in the fall or the winter. You have to be crucial when it comes to the timing when you pitch. April, May, June, July, I'm sending out 100, 150 emails a day to journalists and following up with them to see if they're interested in writing about our launch.
Love it. So it's time sensitive in the sense of whatever's going on in the seasonal cycle for that local news affiliate. That's really, we need to be in that journalist mind of what do they care about? What are they thinking about? We can't be talking to them about lawn care if it's the winter. That's a good example. I love that. Okay. One thing I've always heard is you're connecting it to a broader thing. Like we talked about you guys with the Uber for lawn care sort of thing. Is it that angle of this is a tech startup, this is a new thing, this is a take? I wonder if you could just frame the pitch a little bit of how do you make it, do you need to make it more than about promoting your business? And if so, how do you tie into that larger conversation for PR?
Yes. When we pitch, the subject line is always Uber for lawn care launching in Des Moines, Iowa. That kind of makes it like, hey, there's a company that's launching into our city and makes it relevant for that local news station. And then when they read the email, after a few years, and you can ask some of these reporters, hey, what was it about my pitch that made you open my email? And most of them are like, it's relatable because everybody knows what Uber is and everybody needs their lawn mowed during the spring or the summer. And then you made it local for our city. When I feel like I have that relationship, I try to get that feedback from that reporter. Then also I have little tabs and I can bring it up and show you my pitch.
That'd be great. Okay. So it's tie-in, it's local. In this case, it's pertinent to their town. There's a broader thing going on. Uber, so I'm looking at your email pitch here. First thing I see actually some emojis, right? I see a little smartphone. Uber-like lawn mowing app just launched in Des Moines. Nice sunny emoji. All right, tell us about this, Gene.
Yes, I think actually Brian sent me an email about adding emojis in the subject line to differentiate yourself from other pitches. Some reporters get 200 or 300 pitches a day, so just some little emojis that you add just to, like, if they briefly look like, hey, this is technology, weather related. Okay, it's hot here in Des Moines. What am I looking at here? So that has actually helped the open rate per se with this. And I'm still keeping it at a local level here, time sensitive this week, because basically what I want to do is I want to get maybe their sense of urgency saying, hey, this is launching this week. I need to get on it as soon as possible. Because if you really don't specify, they don't know exactly when your launch is. And some people, they don't want to miss it. They're like, okay, this is a big deal for our city, so we want to do it as soon as possible. And to be honest with you, I want it to be done as soon as possible because I can move on to the next city. And then here I've got some broad strokes on why this is important. GreenPal's technology explains what you're doing, how it works. And what I had to do during COVID was tie it into why people would care about this when there's a pandemic going on. So I tied the contactless service into a bullet point here that a lot of reporters now are still asking me about the contactless service. Obviously, we didn't start GreenPal as a contactless business knowing that there was a pandemic coming in 2020, but the consumer mindset has shifted. They don't want to talk to anybody. They just want to hit a button and make things happen. And this was also a bullet point that I added as well. Everybody's worried about the older generation and health risks and stuff like that. And we saw this demographic kind of grow during COVID, and it's still grown. I'm asked about this every time I get on an interview, why this is. And so that's a point that we still continue to add in all the press releases as well.
That's awesome. I'm going to actually read this aloud if that's okay, Gene,
Okay,
for
for
people who are
sure.
listening, and then let's talk through it. So it starts with that subject line we mentioned with the emojis and Uber-like technology for it. We go right into Ophelia, the first name. This is somebody you found on the local website, it sounds. Is that right?
Absolutely. Uh-huh.
First name, comma. I want to let you know the nation's leader in on-demand lawn mowing is launching its service in Des Moines this week. With more and more homeowners looking to hire someone for their lawn care services, GreenPal lends itself to being the only way to get your lawn mowed this season. Here's why, and then we got 3 bullet points. GreenPal's technology allows local pre-screened vendors to competitively bid on lawns, ensuring homeowners receive the best price for all their lawn care needs. Number 2, homeowners can order quote-unquote contactless lawn care for same or next day service while beating the heat. Love it. Number 3, over 30% of GreenPal customers are over the age of 60. This demographic is particularly vulnerable to health risks and greatly benefits from the added safety and convenience provided by our platform. Again, with the context of COVID and everything like that, right? At the end, let me know if you'd like to do an interview, if you have any questions. Full press release is below for immediate release. Here's the date. Here's key stats. Bullet point. Has over 1 million homeowners signed up and using GreenPal. Love it. Has over 50K landscaping professionals running their business on it. Operates in over 48 states, 250 major markets. Here's your name, phone number, contact info, and then a full press release written out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And is this is then tailored then to Des Moines? What parts of this are templated and what parts are customized here, Gene?
So great question. The cities are the only thing that I have to change. If we're typically launching multiple markets, right? So it would be almost impossible for me to write a specific email for every single city. So if I'm changing this to Omaha, Nebraska, I have to change this city here.
Are you doing some kind of mail merge, or you're doing this by hand, sending it out from your G Suite or your Gmail account? Okay.
This is all by hand.
So this is a true one-to-one. You're not doing cold outreach, not using software, really. It's just, this is your G Suite account. Okay.
No. So I've tried to use the mail merging, and we just saw the open rate just plummet. So it's so important for us to kind of to let our name get put in the newspaper and in lights, basically. So it's just kind of hand cranking this, and that's probably what we're going to continue to do. I think last year there was 90 something markets that we were able to launch that we got a local link from the media just by doing it this way. It's a little too important to not do it the painstakingly long way.
This is such an important channel for you guys. You spend the time, you do the customization, or you change out what you need by hand, because that deliverability is so crucial, that personalization. Right. It's from you, firstname@company.com. You've got your actual domain. It's not like some other domain you're using for cold outreach. I see your picture is in there too. Like, it's all for real, basically, and they can see this is all legit. They can go check it out on your site.
Exactly. And then I think the most important part of my job is in the follow-up. I heard a quote, I don't know who said it, but fortune is in the follow-up, and it's true. I'd say about 99% of the time that I'm reaching out, it's never one email. It's either the second email or the third email. A lot of that is when I do follow up, this is how I do it. I hit follow up in the email and just wanted to checking if you've seen my previous email with the mowing season here, would you consider a story on our launch into the city? And then this is something that has helped me out a lot. I can provide pictures, videos, and also available for a phone or video interview at any point. Sometimes I get a reply saying, hey, do you mind sending over some assets so we can take a look at it? Or do you mind sending over some assets so I can present this to my assignment editor? And this is the second step, is when you get most of the responses back from the reporters.
I love it. Are you using Boomerang or something else to remind you when people have not responded?
No, I have my own Google sheet that has every state, every city with every reporter in every market. It's a beast. I've been aggregating it for about 12 years now.
Okay. You're really tracking that thing and seeing the response. Yeah. You've got the numbers on it. I
typically do my outreaches Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a city, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for a city. The research on all that starts around December, and then it takes me about 3 months to get everything updated in the system on my spreadsheet.
I love it. Okay, so you're really doing the manual way, just making sure. It sounds like the hit rate. If you send 100 of these, Gene, how many do you hear back on? How many do you get features on?
If I'm doing if I'm doing about 100 emails, I'm probably getting maybe one or two, but they have to be, it has to be timed. It has to be relevant. And so if I can get two or three, four hits a week, then life is good. Life is really good.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm going to have you stop sharing for just a second, Gene, because I want to pull up in Ahrefs again on what you've done here and what the effect has been. I can feel people, if they're watching this or listening to this, they're like, 1 out of 100, that's brutal. This is a ton of work. I just want to highlight it's worth it. And it really does work. We looked at this the other day with your partner, Brian. I just want to share again. So this is an Ahrefs. This is an SEO tool. So this is yourgreenpal.com. I'm looking at you guys. First of all, your domain rating is 72 out of 100. This is on a logarithmic scale. Not bad at all. Like
No, not bad.
New York Times, Fox News, the biggies, those are probably in the 90s, right? So those are huge. But whatever your local paper is probably well south of this, depending on the size of your market, right? So
right. They're just in their 30s or 40s.
Yeah, that's right. So you guys are looking at this too. Just tons of backlinks, tens of thousands, so many domains. Brian said, hey, it's not just 2,700 referring domains. It's all time. We've had more like 12,500 domains. There's tons of keywords you guys rank for. I know you've got a blog too. That's a whole other topic. But then when I'm looking at your backlinks themselves, and I want to see, this is how I do it. I look at the do follow, show me those. I might group them together or something like that. I want to get a sense of, let's look at maybe sorted by domain rating. You guys are on Weebly. You're on this Best Care Wix site. It's like on a Google site too. But some of these, I see HubSpot. Here we go. Harvard Business Review, hbr.org. That's got to be a juicy one. Look at that. 92 domain rating. So guys, every one of these just makes a difference. I see TechCrunch. Booyah. There we go. So QuickBooks. So one thing to say here, Gene, is this is not just local news sites. Are you pitching these also to get on Inc. and Entrepreneur and all these others as well?
That has been a hero assignment that Brian and I have both kind of done for the last 10 years. Now it's quoted. But what typically happens sometimes, like I believe we launched in, where was it last week? But we got, I think it was Akron, Ohio, and Yahoo picked it up. So it was like, it just didn't go viral, but the Yahoos, CNNs, they caught wind of it too. So it was not only was it a local link in Gannett.com, which is huge, but it was also picked up by 5 or 6 other media outlets, the national one. So well worth doing that.
Yeah, that's great. I want to just highlight that for a second. Help a Reporter Out, or Haro, has been a major source of backlinking for me over the years as well. And I've actually got this resource. Maybe we could collaborate on this and make this into something, Gene. I just want to show this. Yeah. So for anybody's not aware, you can sign up for this digest and receive pitch requests from reporters, right? And just respond to the digest if they're pertinent to you. And so I've got this document where I've laid out, here, I sorted by domain rating. What was the query that came through the digest? In this case, what are best practices adopted in client reporting? What tools? And then here's my pitch that I did, right? And I always say Haro so I can see it in my sent mail. Questions for agency owners and price. Apparently I need to match these up because that's not right, but you get the idea. Here's what I said, right? And then here's the backlink. And one thing that's nice on these too is oftentimes if they're doing content marketing, their domain rating is growing over time too. So it's like their rising tide could potentially be lifting your boat too. So love this. Maybe we could collaborate on this, Gene, and make like the ultimate guide and sell this, or make it a class or something.
Yeah. Hey, whatever helps.
That's great. I think one thing to say about that is, I think for people watching this might be in e-commerce, they might want those higher domain rating links. It sounds like Help a Reporter Out has really been the trick there. But I know for you guys, since you needed to rank for these sort of local type keywords, right, of lawn care Nashville, lawn care Minneapolis or Minnesota or something like that, it was really important to get those signals from the local businesses. And we work with the local businesses too. So that's part of why I wanted to have you on, to see how are you doing this local SEO link building. And it sounds like you guys don't just look at domain, and you're looking at the local piece too for those local SEO rankings. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a twofold. We want consumers to sign up because they see it, and then we also get the local juice from the local newspaper or the local television station. And then what that also does, it helps vendors know that we're live in that city, and we also get typically a bunch of vendor signups essentially for free from the PR hit. So it's like a 3-headed monster that we're tackling by getting the local links.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anything else you want to say on the help a reporter out? How do you guys approach that? It's pretty noisy in that inbox with all the digests. Sometimes I set up Google alerts or I'll get little Gmail rules. So I only see the ones that are
Yeah.
pertinent to me and our clients. Any tips that have helped on the help a reporter outside that you can share?
Gosh, what's helped me out was just doing it. I know that they come 3 times a day, and I set aside 30 minutes every single day after all those, and just knock them out if there's something that I think that I can contribute to. Never in my life would I thought I would ever be some sort of contributor to anything like that. But going through a journey that we went was a little unorthodox. You get some good tidbits that some people want to hear about and maybe inspire some people. But I think that the tip is just sitting down and making it a routine. The more you pitch, the better you're going to get and the more hits you're going to get.
Yeah, I try to always say, hi, first name. Here's a quick
Yep.
thing. Do the bullet points like you did. So I'm
Yep.
quotable. I've got some sound bites. Here's everything that they need to know. There's a link to my headshot. There's a link
Right.
to my website. It's all in there. Happy to answer questions. I always tell them links to our sites help us. Sometimes you get featured and they don't link to you. And I'll say, hey, can you give us a live link? It's the tit for tat here that's scratching each other's backs.
Yeah, for
Love it.
sure. For sure. And then we always put, if it's something that you include, please let us know and we'll help promote it. That helped a little bit.
That's a good
So
one.
help the
Okay.
promotion side. So
I love that. Okay. Anything else on Haro? Are there other services like Haro you guys have signed up for and found success with?
Quoted,
Okay.
QWOTED. We've
Mhm.
utilized that quite a bit. It's a little bit different than Haro because you can filter. You can type in like in the top is like landscaping, and and I can actually share that if you'd like
Mhm.
to see that.
Love it. Yeah, I'm checking this one. And do you pay for that one, or that's there's a
Yeah, I
free
think
version?
it's I forgot the price on it,
Okay.
but this is something that I it's not every 3 times a day payroll comes, but it's USA Today, Yahoo, CBS Money Watch, and what I typically like to stay in the ballpark is like landscaping. And then anything with landscaping or gardening will pop up. It makes it a little bit easier to navigate as far as what to pitch, and you can filter quickly on which ones to pitch and stay in your lane.
I love it. This is so great. It's just so many opportunities. I just want to emphasize one more time why to some people this will sound like a lot of work, and it is, right?
Yeah,
But I want to emphasize why it's worth it. So I'm looking at all time as best I can. This is again for you guys. This is on yourgreenpal.com. Look at this traffic, folks. So May 2024, average organic traffic, we're almost up to 100,000 SEO visits a month. It's unpaid. So you're putting in the elbow grease, you're doing the time, and that's what's
yeah,
getting you there. And when I look at referring domains, I see that those track pretty closely. If I can do that, it's like up and to the right. Boy,
that's
as
where
an
you want to be.
SEO professional, this is what I want to see. And this is different websites linking to you guys. And just look how those go up and to the right together, right? Maybe not totally in lockstep, but if you want more SEO traffic, you really need to be building backlinks. And Gene has showed you 2 great ways here. You can be reaching out to media and pitching them, and then also just responding to media on these tools. Help a reporter out and Quoted, and probably others as well. Anything else to say here, Gene? Any recommendations or encouragement you'd give to listeners or viewers here on this is worth it, this is how to do it? Leave us with some inspiration on PR and SEO backlinks.
Yeah, so I think the biggest takeaway that I got is, hey, these reporters are looking to write about something. That is their job. Like they got into journalism for a reason. They want to tell a story. Sometimes you got to tell them, hey, what angles, what stories that they need to write about, but don't be don't be worried that you're bugging them. This is what they do. This is what they want to do. They want to report the news, and if you have something newsworthy, you shouldn't have any issues at all getting some ink.
Yeah, that's great. I want to throw in one quick funny reference, if I may. My wife and I are big fans of Found Footage Festival. These guys used to be in Wisconsin, now they're in Brooklyn, and they'll travel the country and show funny old VHS tapes. They've got over 11,000 VHS tapes, and they curate them, and they're hilarious. And they made this branched off into a sub project. There's a movie called Chop and Steal you can buy on Amazon or look at, and it's them. They do this ridiculous act, and they go around the country and they get on local TV news. And so the reason I bring that up is, one, it's hilarious and I recommend it. And two, it gives you a sense of what you said, Gene, of reporters are desperate. They have to come up with news every day. And
Right.
so they need something to write about, and it needs to be interesting. It's not just promoting your company. They're talking about broader trends like Uber and tech and COVID and things like that. But
Mhm.
you're doing them a favor by giving them some content. And so you can scratch each other's backs, promote your company, get a backlink while also giving something for them to cover. So check that out. Right on. Gene, thank you so much for coming on and sharing what's working.
No problem. Thank you, Egan. And if you need anything else on my end, let me know.
Love it. And people can check you out. You're Gene Caballero on LinkedIn, and you guys
Mhm.
are yourgreenpal.com. Anywhere else people should look to find you?
I think the website says enough.
Love it. All right, Gene, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, buddy.